What's up, guys? So I thought I would record this one episode, just going through a few basic websites that I think have been incredibly helpful for me. Now, everybody's going to have a different sort of story as to like why they're coming to Spain, why they want to move to Europe. But I think in general, for most of Europe, specifically Spain, these are going to be great resources. So the first one I'm going to start out with is going to be Idealista. Now, if you're looking for short-term rentals, obviously Airbnb is a great start because you can at least get started and be in a particular neighborhood for 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months, whatever. And after that, if you still want to stay short term, I think Facebook groups are a really good place to just post. There's expat groups. There is Facebook groups of people who live in Spain, in Santiago. You know, I live in Santiago de Compostela, and you can find some wonderful connections. People who want to give up their place for a couple of months, a couple of weeks. And if you don't have a Facebook, you can obviously have a friend just take a look for you. But Idealista is really good because you can do a search for apartments for rent or for sale. Obviously, it's very cheap here in Spain. For most of us physicians, it's not that difficult to buy something. But okay, not everyone's going to want to do that. I did, and it was so far a good choice. So I can go to Idealista. I can put in Pontevedra, Provincia, which is a little bit south of Santiago de Compostela, but it's still in the region of Galicia, area de Vigo. That's the city of Vigo, and I can click here on all the 660, well, I guess available apartments for rent. And you'll see all of the ones that are listed kind of coming up. The most expensive ones might be coming up first, but usually for not a lot, for about $500 or $600, you can get a nice place. So, for example, this one, let's click on this one. This is 600, dos habitaciones, 80 metros. So this is 80 meters, so pretty big spot. Well, consider for here, 2 habitaciones, 1 bathroom. You can definitely convert this to English if that's easier for you. So you can go through the photos pretty easily. It looks like it's got a nice view. It's got a patio. It looks like it's a good amount of light coming in. And then when you go further down, it will give you a map. The map is sort of nice, especially if you want to just search by map. You can do that on Idealista, and that way you can get a sense of like, where do I want to be in Vigo? For example, for me, there's a lot of great places in Vigo. I definitely like this area, and then a little bit further north is pretty chill as well. So that's Idealista, pretty straightforward. If you want to do if you're looking for something more along the lines of purchasing, it's pretty much the same thing. You can go here on Idealista. Instead of alquilar, you can go to comprar viviendas, and then we can do Vigo again. And I pretty much just go straight here unless you know exactly what neighborhood you want to be in. For example, if you want to be more in Ocastro, which is kind of the main area, you would just select that. But yeah, I know there's always like the super expensive stuff that pops up. And Vigo is actually Vigo is a more expensive neighborhood for sure. But if you kind of look over here, kind of one of the main areas of town, you can see stuff for 200, for 300, for 150. There are places available, and it just sort of depends on what you like. It's like the sliver of view that this one has, and it's got a bunch of photos. Apparently, I only see one. Let's see. So this is the view to the street. Yeah, this is pretty bad, but anyway. So, all right, that's Idealista. Let's get rid of that. Wallapop. Wallapop has an app. You can also go es.wallapop.com, and basically there's a lot of ways of searching for stuff. So I can go on the main one. I can look for cars. So I just recently bought a car here in Spain, and so I can put in smart for 2. Those little tiny toy toy cars, I guess. Well, they're real cars, but they're tiny. So here we can take a look at this one, 3,700 euros. You'll see how many reviews this person has had. You have to sign up for an account, but that's pretty easy. The kind of car it is, a little bit of information here. If you have Google Chrome, Google Translate installed as an extension on your Chrome, you can right click and say translate to English. But I think most Chrome does that even if you don't have it. But yeah, you can see here it translated it pretty well. You can take a look at the map where they're located, some other suggestions. And what's great is you can start a chat. Now, if you're going to start a chat and you want to ask a lot of questions like I have done here, it's good to be able to find translations. So Dpel is much better than Google Translate. Google Translate is good because it's also a conversation, so you guys can talk live. One person can talk, the other person can talk, or you can talk out loud into Google Translate and it will pick it up in any language and translate it for you. So that's great. You can translate photos and pictures of stuff with Google Translate, especially the app. But sometimes you want Dpel.com is much better if you want to be able to get a perfect and accurate translation. So it's complicated as far as how it does it. Natural language processing, it sort of looks for word combinations that show up together, like get the fuck out of here shows up together a lot as a combination. And so it will look for that translation and not just get the fuck out of here individually. So here, are you for real? Get the fuck out of here. So it's eres de verdad, lárgate de aquí, right? So it's kind of like the colloquial way of saying it. And then if I click on lárgate, I can also change it to lárgate de aquí. I can change it to sal de aquí. Salgan de aquí. Well, this is the more okay, salgan de aquí, carajo, right? And then I can click on the word, and down here it'll give me a lot more explanation. So really good app. Anyway, back to Wallapop. So if you're looking for other stuff like motorcycles, cars, clothes, anything like that, it's incredible. And you can obviously search for, you can search based on distance, based on the type that you want. You can do a search over here. And it's been great. I've bought stuff on there. I think, I've sold stuff on there. It's been reliable. I recommend it. And there is Mil Anuncios as well. Mil Anuncios is another app that people use, but I've had a good luck with this one. Now, okay, if you're going to come to Spain, Meetup is actually something people use. So here in Santiago de Compostela, looks like there is a couple of stuff like Gals Tech. I think that's in Pontevedra, so that's in Galicia, but not in Santiago. Here in Santiago de Compostela, there is Quedada para conocer gente y hacer amigos. And then Open Beta Space, I have no idea what that is. And there's some stuff for yoga, there is some tech stuff. And so these are just good ways to find groups. Facebook is good as well. And pretty quickly, you're going to make a lot of friends, and you guys are going to all end up on WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp is obviously the thing that everybody uses here. So that's Meetup. And then for traveling, so I think this is incredible. I highly recommend Renfe. Renfe is the main train system here in Santiago de Compostela. And so, for example, let's say I want to go to Sevilla and I just want ida. So I only want to like one direction. So you don't save much by getting a round trip. So I'm going to say pasajero. And let's say we're going to leave Sábado. I don't think there's going to be any tickets, but let's take a look. So you can search, a lot of different criteria you can use, and it's good. Sometimes it's not accurate. So sometimes if you go to the train station, there might be another ticket that you have, or sometimes it won't let you buy a ticket for some weird reason. I don't quite know why. And so for that, I recommend going to the train station, though it's obviously becoming more and more accurate. So we'll come back to that while this is doing something, whatever it's doing. We're going to go to Omio. Omio is another wonderful app for connection. So imagine you want to go from Santiago de Compostela down south to Oporto. Porto in Portugal. So if you want to go south, you type in your destinations on Saturday when you want to go. And so this is a single one direction and one adult, and looks like it's going to be about 35 euros or so. And so I can leave at 10 a.m. and get there, 4 hours later, give or take. And you can see it's pretty cheap, pretty cool, right? So there is the Alsa bus, and then there is the Monbus. Monbus also travels a lot locally. Alianza, Alsa. So those are the main. Sorry, I hope I didn't say train. I meant buses. Those are the main buses that travel, and of course, you can travel all around the Galician Peninsula, all the way down to Oviedo and like Bilbao, and so great bus systems over here. So let's see how we're doing over here. Oh, looks like okay. All right, you do. Anyway, Renfe, pretty straightforward. But yeah, we'll see if we can come back to that. Now, most places, when you're looking for local public transportation, they're going to be on Google Maps, but some cities are not. Santiago de Compostela, even though it's incredibly popular, doesn't have a good local bus system on maps. So if you use Google Maps, it's not going to give you any bus systems. But I use a lot of buses here, and it's you can use Move It for that. So I can go to any city that I'm in. So Santiago de Compostela. And then I can say here, like, what do I classically go? Rua de Vista Alegre. And then I want to go to, here, let's do the Rua Vista Alegre. And I want to go to Indoor Wall. That's the classic gym that I always go to. So it'll kind of tell me which buses go at what time. So right now, this late, only the one goes. Oh, I have to take some connections, but you can change the departure date. Very similar to Google Maps. So, and eventually, I think these things get integrated. But for now, it's not there. So that's Move It. Google Flights. I think most people know about this, but Google Flights is a great way to start the search. So for example, if I want to go to Santiago de Compostela to London on May 8th, I can either do a round trip or one way, and pretty cheap, right? 10 euros, 40 euros. It's actually pretty cheap right now to fly. We flew for 30 euros on Ryanair. Ryanair is a really bad airline. So I highly recommend paying a little bit more, going with Vueling. Of course, Iberia is like really good airline. But Google Flights is wonderful because you can also you can click into your dates and you can say, oh, if I go on this day, it'll be cheaper. Or if I can go much sooner, and it's okay. It's not that much more expensive. And then you can do a search. And then oftentimes certain airlines are not listed on Google Flights. So if you know about those airlines, you can certainly do a search, but there are other websites for that as well, which I don't use, so I'm not familiar with them. As far as internet and cell phone and connectivity at home, so Tarifa Solo Móvil. So if you just want to get monthly internet, monthly cell phone hotspot, everybody hotspots here. So some people just don't even have home Wi-Fi. But basically, for you get 7 gigs for $15 a month, 180 gigs for 20, and unlimited for 29. And this is durante 9 meses. So you have to sign a contract. But if you want to do month to month, it's usually 10 euros. No tax, and you get 10 gigabytes. Honestly, they usually give you these premiums like, oh, we're going to give you 15 gigabytes extra. So you usually get like 20, 25 gigabytes with Orange. So that's pretty easy, and you can refill it super easy on the website. So I do recommend it. And finally, I think it does get complicated when you do want to access some websites at home. Some websites won't let you access them from Spain. When you want to pay taxes, the IRS, when you want to go to Bank of America, sometimes it won't let you. So I do have a VPN. I use Nord. There's so many other ones. There's so many better ones, but Nord has been pretty reliable for me. It's about $3 a month. If you pay like a 2-year plan, if you pay a one-year plan, it's like $4 or $5 a month. You paid once, you write it off on your taxes, and really, it's incredible. So, oh well, I guess that didn't work. But anyways, guys, those are the websites. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope this was helpful.